All right, I'm recording now. So, hey, welcome back. This is another episode of Local Everywhere on the Houston Collective Radio. And today we have, man, an OG friend, dude. Like, we've known each other probably longer, man, over 20 years. It has to be, right?
I would say at least 20 years,
Yeah,
man. Like at
at
least 20
least.
years. We met each other long before then, but like I would say at least 20 years,
Yeah,
man. Like 2005 was my first memory of you with the
yeah.
dreads.
Like, not too many people know that, but so here, before we get into reminiscing and stuff, please introduce yourself to the Houston Collective audience.
What's up, everybody, man? This is JitDragon, South San Francisco MC, based out of the Bay Area. Been into music since 2003. Released a couple of projects. Check me out on iTunes. Check me out on Instagram. Check me out on Facebook, SoundCloud, all of your streaming platforms. I'm over there.
No Spotify?
Oh, Spotify. Yeah,
Oh,
check me out on Spotify as well. Yeah.
well, I don't know.
Definitely.
I for
Spaced
some
on that
reason,
one.
Spotify makes me feel icky because I know like artists doesn't get paid that much. It's like a fraction of a
Yeah.
penny per listen. So I was like, let's do not SoundCloud, Bandcamp. That's the one I've been like using more on.
Yeah, no, I'm on Bandcamp as well. All of my, in fact, not everything, not my whole catalog is on Spotify or on iTunes. But my whole catalog is on Bandcamp. So
Oh,
if you wanted to
awesome.
purchase directly from the artist, I'm there.
Yeah, no. That's what I like to hear and see it. Like purchase directly to the artist and not get a fraction of a penny per listen. Per
Seriously.
like billion listens or something like. So anyways, so Jit, dude, I don't even know if I know this story. I mean, I know we went to high school together, but we didn't really kick it. But like you said, 2002 was when you started recording. Did you start doing music? I would assume way before that.
No, well, way before that. I mean, obviously, I have a very similar story to most artists, where we all started off as kids and in middle school, high school, right? If you want me to bring it back all the way there, let's go start at high school. I mean, the culture back then was, because social media wasn't around back then, right? So the culture back then was you have to physically, word of mouth, hear about the ciphers that are going on. Your listeners that don't know what type of music I'm doing, I'm an MC, I'm a rapper, I'm a hip hop producer. Um, so back in the late '90s, early 2000s is when I actually full on started, um, and and back then you physically had to search out for talent shows and street ciphers and like just the local parties, where because in Daly City in South San Francisco, where I grew up and currently reside, I mean the culture was house parties, right? So and Messiah, you probably have some experience with our old place in regards to house parties, right?
Yes.
So so you had to physically search out for those venues and and things of that nature back when in high school. So after graduation of high school, that's when I kind of linked up with the crew, and we started promoting, club shows, bar shows, fiesta shows, like festivals and stuff like that. And I was pretty much a one man team for a period of time during the early 2000s when we were kind of active, hanging out,
Mhm.
right? So um, yeah, that's kind of where I got my start, and kind of progressed from there. I took a giant hiatus in my 30s, and I'm finally coming out in my 40s to release one final album before I hang it up.
Yeah. So back in the day, like, because I feel like email wasn't widely used back then, right? So how did you book shows back then, dude?
Oh, I mean, like emails were. I'm not a dinosaur, right? So,
Well, neither am I.
but
Get on.
it was MySpace.
Right.
So I
Oh,
mean,
that's what it
I probably
was.
mate myself sound like a dinosaur just with that one word alone, right? But it was MySpace, man. Like um, before, even though so before I was talking about social media didn't exist during high school, right? But after high school in the early 2000s, that's when MySpace and Facebook started coming out. So we did a lot of promotion on that, but it was instead of paying to go viral. Like you literally had to put in some work to that was like the beginning of the content days, right? Beginning of YouTube creators and content creators, and not so much influencers, but just like content creators to be entertained, right? So we did a lot of marketing and promotion on MySpace and Facebook. And then when MySpace died out, it was primarily Facebook, and we got like kind of an email list coming in because, for example, when we had CDs back in the day, right, we used to pass out free CDs, and every time somebody wanted a free CD, we would ask for their email. We asked for the email and their Facebook page. It's very similar to what's happening now, right? Um, so that was the main source of gathering an audience, right? So that's how I did it from the beginning, even to now, right? In order to gather an audience, I mean, the collection of emails in order to get like a direct audience. I mean, get music directly to the audience as opposed to not knowing if your plays or your streams are coming from bots or some something that you're not even aware of, right? So yeah, that's like if you want to talk back in the day, is it was more MySpace than anything, and MySpace and directing the shows and going out to downtown, not downtown, but like Haight Street is where we primarily Hayden Ashbury's where we primarily performed a lot and handing out physical flyers, like which nobody does now,
No,
right?
no,
But we
no. You just get like like 98 tags on a post that says here free show or show. It's like, oh, come on,
exactly.
guys. So wait, where were you guys playing at Hayden Ashbury?
We did a lot of shows at Amoeba, so Amoeba Music right over there.
Oh,
Those were our daytime shows, right? And then we moved on to the club scene at nighttime, where it was 330 Ridge, Club Six. I mean, these clubs are not around now, right? Because that was like I said, early 2000s, mid 2010s. So that's where we were playing. We played a couple of shows in the peninsula, specifically in Pacifica, where it was called the Octopus Lounge. We kind of had like a
I
residency there.
totally forgot about that place.
Right. It was called the Octopus Lounge. It's called something different. And nowadays you see people like La Russell and Richie Rich go over to that same venue, 180 Eureka Square, to kind of do private shows as well. So like that place probably could fit about 100 folks, right? 100 to 120 folks, right? Which is a decent amount of crowd if you're doing a residency, right? When I say residency, it's like every other Friday or something, like you're running a show. So the people who can't get in the first show because it's the capacity um is maximum capacity already, they could come back for the next Friday and things of that nature, right?
Mm.
So that's where we came in. Early on, I would say in the early 2000s, like 2000, 2001, that's there was a big car show scene.
Mm.
Like it used to be called Hot Import Nights, right? So I used to be part of this camp. It was a record label called Elusive Records, and that was my first experience going up and down the West Coast. From Washington, Oregon,
Wait, you went on tour?
a little bit. And this was prior to the Francisco years where
Okay.
you know what I mean. So we had a little bus that we rode up and down the coast at from we had some shows in Seattle, we had some shows in Portland, we had some shows in the Bay Area, obviously, and then we moved on to San Luis Obispo, and then all the way down, not LA Metro, but to San Diego. So we followed the whole Hot Import Nights like car line
What? I
basically.
had no idea, dude. What?
Yeah, yeah. So
After all
that
these
was
years.
yeah, that was like a real fun experience actually. Like it was the first time where like it was I got a real taste of going from place to place to place and like sleeping in like the bus. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, so, because sometimes you like especially during those times we didn't have like the motels, but we all had like 24-hour fitness gym membership, so we would
Yeah.
shower at the gym, right? So that was a fun experience, man.
Wait, who'd you go on tour with? I
It was
feel
Elusive Records.
well,
Elusive
like,
Records.
was it just you? I mean, I would assume there was like, what was Eric there? Eric,
Oh no, no, this was pre United High. This was pre Eric Nickel. Like cool, shout out to Cool
yeah.
Guy with Eames, and shout out to United High. This was pre everything. It was pre even me having a studio, right? Because
Whoa.
like since you've known me, I've always had like a studio
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
at the crib, right? But this was pre me even having a studio. This is straight out of high school, right?
Holy.
So back then they had I joined this camp called Elusive Records, and they were working on a compilation, hip hop compilation, where I was only one of 12 members, but I was the only Chinese guy. Everybody else was black, white, Mexican, right? I was the only Chinese guy, and they kind of put me in the forefront because back, back then, MC Jin was making a big splash
Mhm.
for Asian American rappers, right? So they were trying to ride that wave and try to put me as like the poster boy, I guess. But yeah, man, this was pre uh, me having my own studio in my own house. This was me jumping from studio to studio to studio, and relying on other producers to produce my music, and I was just rapping on it. Um, so that was like prior to me actually developing my own sound, and it was really early days, right? Where much of the music that I was making and much of the lyrics that I was writing didn't quite reflect who I was as a person, right? And so it wasn't really the beginning of my artistry. It was like, for your audience out there. I mean, I'm sure that you guys can relate that sometimes you guys that sometimes us artists write songs not specifically for us, right? You write songs specifically, well, at least in the early days, to trying to appease a specific demographic, right?
Well, the
So
difference, the weird thing is like, well, I wouldn't say it's weird. So ever since I moved to Texas, I don't even like hang out or know any rappers. So
right.
so this is like all different side of the industry that I've never heard of. I usually just deal with like, rock bands or acoustic stuff. So it's is it still running like that today over there, or but you're like super independent, so you probably don't even deal with any of that anymore.
Yeah, yeah. Like I mean, a majority of the artists that actually are making some changes is doing it independently. If you see, just specifically on the rap side, on the hip hop side, if you see like folks coming in kind of decked out and flashy and things of that nature, that's all like dressing up a doll, right? But like I kind of take La Russell as a blueprint. I mean, the Bay has always been independent. It's always been out the trunk, right? Even our icons like E40 and Too Short,
Yeah.
to this day they're still independent, right? And and so yeah, in regards to the rap side, uh, in order to kind of make a name for yourself, and especially with the resources that you have now, I mean, it's easier to stay independent as opposed to like signing up to sell your soul,
Right,
quote
right,
unquote.
right.
Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like the freedom is probably much better, and at the same time, probably harder work because you don't have like a dedicated producer making beats for you. But I know you've always made your own beats and stuff. Oh, or for as long as I've seen you in your studio and stuff like that.
Right. And I mean, recently I haven't been making my own beats because I wanted to change my sound up, and is as a producer, like you're kind of limited. And it's not that you're limited, but you have a specific sound that you're already accustomed to, and you want to make sure that you break out of that. Um, Whereas rock bands, or these bands in general, they have like a whole pool of talent
Hmm.
that they can branch off of. You know what I mean? Like each instrument is like an individual pool of talent,
Yeah.
right? Like just ideas could be flowing. So somebody could come up with different like a pool of five people, obviously, whether it be singers, rappers, musicians, specifically a band, right? They have their own ideas for melodies, chords, lyrics, right? So the benefit of being part of a group, which I was never really part of a group, So which I kind of like. I'm envious regarding bands because they have a pool of talent and kind of a team to create the content as opposed to just one individual, right? So I've been trying to for this last album, I'm not producing any. I mean, I produced a couple of the beats, but not all of it. Like how you'll see if you go on iTunes or Spotify or even on Bandcamp, every single one of those projects that you hear on there, I'm on every single beat. Like every single beat is mine, right? As opposed to this final project, I kind of wanted to branch out to different producers in order to not deviate from the sound that is distinctly mine, but to utilize other people's God-given gifts to so I could use that as like a vessel to create my final project.
Well, so when you're picking these producers, I would assume that you're also doing their research to, I guess, kind of fit their style and what your sound is, or are you just like, go at it, do what you need to, and I'll figure it out after?
Well, there's some producers that I work with directly that have a distinct sound that I'm going for. But I mean, majority of the times with us rappers, I mean, we're looking online. There's such a big community, like BeatStars, right?
Okay.
There's such a big community where they just sell you instrumental, sell you beats. So that's kind of a big resource that just rappers like me. Because right now I'm just in a category of rapper. I'm not trying to produce any new beats, right? Other than a couple that I worked on specifically for this album. But BeatStars is a huge resource for, and there's a big community of lyricists that utilize BeatStars. So if you're a producer out there and you're not on BeatStars, like, I mean, you should be on BeatStars, is what I'm saying, in order to sell your instrumentals. And there's plenty of like categories that you can upload. There's alternative R&B, there's alternative rock, there's hip hop, there's trap music, there's soul music. There's just a plethora of
Oh
stuff on
wow,
BeatStars that I've been utilizing.
I had no
So
idea.
yeah, man. So like if you're if you're a musician, um that is, and it's not like you're selling the exclusive. I mean, you can sell the exclusive rights to one of the instrumentals that you produce. Um, for thousands and thousands of dollars. That's usually the going rate. But usually how it works is like it comes in tiers, right? You can utilize this the beat on, like if you're shopping on BeatStars, you utilize this beat for up to 10,000 plays, or you could utilize this beat for 100,000 plays, or unlimited. And there's like a different price category.
Oh.
So that's something that I would kind of advise musicians out there who play an instrument or make beats or make any kind of music that you want to monetize, other than shows and streams and things of that nature. You want to monetize your music but not sell it outright to have the rapper or the singer, the vocalist, get exclusive rights. Then you should kind of check out BeatStars. It's kind of a good resource.
So is it like kind of renting out your music?
That's exactly right.
Oh.
Yeah, you're renting out your music, and after a certain level, like if you blow up and you get a million plays, then if you take a look at the agreements, because there's specific agreements for each instrumental that you purchase, right?
Oh.
So like the producer can dictate the terms, you know what I mean, like how many plays. So, like after a million plays, and you're starting to monetize based off that song, then you would have to approach the producer and kind of work out an individual agreement. Because at that point, if you're going millions and millions and millions of plays, and you actually uh, um, um, receiving any financial gain off of that song, obviously you want to include the person who created that beat,
Right,
right?
of course.
That
Yeah.
that's only fair.
Yeah, it's definitely fair. So here, I'm gonna bounce around real quick. I don't think I've ever
Sure.
got the story of like, how did you get? Was it JT? No, San Quinn. How'd you get San Quinn and Zumbi on your album?
Oh man, legends, man.
Yeah,
MySpace, bro. MySpace.
really?
Like, yeah, I mean, I prior. So they hopped on to they hopped on to. So I had two projects that I was working on simultaneously throughout the years. One was always a solo project. They're called journal entries,
I remember
and
that.
then the next one was called the Associates. Right.
For that
So the
too.
Associates is what like my attempt of getting like a band together, like a group together, um, to collaborate together in order to spice things up. So like some albums you don't want to just hear me, right? So the first installment of the Associates came out in 2006, where it was just me and a couple of MCs that I was accustomed to with rapping with, like Cool Guy, like the folks from United High, and some other people that were close within my circle. On the second installment, which is the Associates Part Two, Wise Guy Radio, that's when I started reaching out to everybody like in the Bay Area that I liked, that I was a fan of, right? And obviously, uh, I reached out to Zuby of Zionine, rest in peace, as well as San Quinn. I reached out to a couple of people, members from the Hieroglyphics, like Pep Love.
Oh.
Yeah, so like Zuby was kind enough to hear my stuff and like my stuff to where he drove all the way from where he was staying at in Oakland at the time, and drove out to South City to my little studio, right? And I still have video of that experience, and we worked on the song together. We sat there for a good hour and a half, and we just punched it out. It was a great song. It was a great song. And then San Quinn, so Zuby came up all by himself, right?
Mm.
He came up all by himself. Be straight to business, sit down, right. San Quinn came with Bailey, Champ Bailey, and came with like three other guys from his entourage. And you'd be kind of intimidated, right? Because it's Quinn,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
this is the first time I met Quinn face to face. Judging by his music back in the day, which was a lot of mob music, you would think that, oh man, that he's a very intimidating person considering the music that he makes. But dude, he was such a good-hearted person, bro. Like just like regular, like this regular dude that liked to laugh. You know what I mean? Like they ended up smoking hella weed at my in my bedroom, because my studio was in my bedroom, and I was like, hey Quinn, man, we don't really smoke weed inside my because when you're in the studio, that's what we're
Right.
accustomed to. They're trying to loosen up and make sure that the creativity flows through, right? But it was my bedroom, dude. So I fell asleep.
So
Right?
so after that, is that when you moved it downstairs, or was that, I can't remember if that was even a different house, because I remember it was like
That was a different
downstairs.
house. That was
Okay.
it. So yeah. So the original house was just my bedroom, because you remember, like we like there were so many people at that house all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So like I had to make sure that I couldn't move the studio to the garage because everybody was there. Either we were young, right? So we were either they're drinking, partying, and stuff like that. And so there was a lot of people always downstairs. So I always had to go up to my room where everything was secluded, which was kind of the ironic part, because downstairs was really loud, but upstairs was even louder, obviously, because
It's a
I was
different kind
the
of loud.
playback. Different kind of, and we God bless the neighbors, man. The neighbors never called the cops or nothing.
Yeah.
Like
I don't ever.
those
Yeah.
Vietnamese, those Vietnamese neighbor, the Vietnamese family that lived next door. His name was Peter. I still remember him. Like he never gave us a hard time for having those like all night ragers.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Literally
Like
all night ragers. Yeah.
like,
Man.
yeah, all that exactly. And then, like in the meantime, 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm freaking playing back the song that I was recording. It's just dum 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 dum, and they never complained. And like as I got older, you know what I mean? Like because back then we were in our 20s,
Yeah.
right? As I got older, I was like, dude, man, that family was cool. It was cool as fuck. Because
Yeah.
like, dude, like 3 o'clock in the morning. I mean, I understand if you wouldn't complain at like 10 o'clock or
Right.
11 o'clock. But I'm up until like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, just pounding
Yeah.
away, and like yeah, man. So I just want to shout out Peter and his family. Thanks very
Yeah.
much for
Oh
putting up with that
shit.
shit.
Yeah, yeah, dude. So another thing I was gonna say is like so when Zumbi and San Quinn showed up, They didn't show up with pre-written, not pre-written, but stuff they worked on. You guys handled it,
Zumbi
banged it
did.
out.
Zumbi did.
Okay.
So Zumbi came in with his first verse and second verse, and then he wrote the third verse at the house. But the hook, the chorus for the song, we wrote together.
Oh.
So that's what took us an hour and a half, because he like he was a professional, right? So he just knocked out his verses, bop 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 bop. But then when it came down to the hook, then we sat down. I kind of gave him the idea for the hook, and then he just wrote it out. And then after he wrote it out, then I was all right. That's what, you know what I mean. Quinn, when he came to the house with his pad, like I need to hear it. Because he did before. So Zumbi actually heard the beat. He wants to hear the beat and have it before he agreed to do the song, and before he would write anything. Right, he wants to hear the beat so he could actually vibe with it. Quinn just came in and with the paper pad put it up, and I just put it up, and then he just started writing over it over and over and again, which is funny because when he was writing it, and he recorded it, I was like, oh man, this is whack. I'm sorry to say, I was like, and he's a legend, so what am I gonna say,
Right,
right?
right, right.
But when I said it was whack, it was not that his lyrics were whack. His lyrics were is Quinn, right? So
Yeah.
his lyrics are good. It was just it didn't match with the beat,
Oh,
right?
okay.
That I produced. So I took his verse and made it a cappella, and I just made a brand new beat on top of his verse, and that's what. So the song is called "Fillmore to Chinatown." And you can hear it. You can hear it on iTunes and Spotify and wherever you stream music, right? But just know, when you hear that song, that wasn't the original beat. The original beat was much busier, as opposed to the beat it's on now, which is more more in tune to San Quinn style, which is kind of like mob music.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, that's the story of Zumbi and Quinn.
Man, that's crazy. No, I had no idea. So then, like, I guess since they're probably all busy dudes, there was no chance to be like, yo, write that again, do it over.
No,
Right.
you had 1 hour or hour and a half with them, because like back then, um, Quinn and Zumbi and Hal Griffith, they were in high demand.
Yeah,
To
yeah.
get them, to get any of them on a song, it's like, wow. But the cool thing is, like, because you kind of you put a myth to the character, right? Like back then there wasn't so many podcasts, so many like interviews where so the artist was kind of like a mystery,
Mhm.
right? So it was a little intimidating to work. Like I said with Quinn, I already gave you that example. But even with Zumbi, it's Cyanide. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? Like, I'm
yeah.
a huge fan of Cyanide,
We
right? So when
all
you work
were.
with, yeah, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, shout out to Amp Live, you know what I mean? Rest in
Uh,
peace to Zumbi, like, because you were such a I was such a fan of theirs. I was a little bit of it. I was a little intimidated to work with them, because I thought I wasn't gonna measure up. But when they come into the studio, and they're just actual human beings, right? And they don't have any like chip on their shoulder. They recognize the fact that you look up to them, right? And so they act accordingly. They act like almost like an older brother type of situation, right? And yeah, man, like that was just a very humbling experience. So that's the reason why, like, whenever I see quote unquote celebrities out there, I don't press them. I just talk to them like regular
yeah.
people, because through my experience of bumping into celebrities throughout the years, or even working with my quote unquote people that I admire a lot. um they're just regular people, dude. Like
Yeah.
so that's kind of the takeaway that I got from that.
Yeah. And then they probably appreciate that they're not like, oh my God. I love your music. Yeah. It's like this now. Yeah, like yeah. But I mean that. I mean,
It's just
there
buy
had
some fried chicken, right?
right.
You know what I mean?
There had to be a
Yeah.
little bit of like a starstruckness until you're like, oh wait, hold on. Yeah, let's get back to this.
For Quinn, it was starstruck until I told Bailey, I was like, hey man, you can't smoke in here, and everybody just went, oh okay, cool, and then went downstairs. You know, I mean, I was like, I thought that they were gonna give me a hard time, but they were like just regular, like I said, regular ass
Yeah.
people, dude.
And
Always
respectable
like,
people. Yeah,
oh
that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, definitely, like most definitely. You know what I mean? They came in very professional. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And even though nobody can dispute that Quinn was in the streets, he's about that lifestyle, or was about that lifestyle, but like he's not going to bring it to a professional atmosphere. He was very professional is what I'm
no,
saying. I
no.
mean, very professional.
That's awesome. I mean, especially with like rappers and especially that genre and that era of rap. You know what I mean? I'd be worried too. I was just like, oh man.
And they came with all of the whole entourage. Well, Quinn came with the whole entourage. Zumbi, he just came by himself, which is kind of a testament to his dedication to the craft, because I mean, like he didn't know me. I could have been sketchy and I could have robbed him myself. You
Dude,
know what I'm
no,
saying?
no, come on. Let's be real. You're in South City, bro. Come on.
Yeah, that's a good. That's a great point. That's a great.
I was like,
That's a great point.
you would have probably brought like an entourage if you're like, oh yeah, come down to 109th and like whatever in East Oakland. Well, even then, but he's from out there. You know what I mean? I think he's from the
Yeah,
West,
exactly.
from what I remember. But all right, so
Yeah.
let's fast forward a little bit to like your current and last album. Are you gonna be like Too Short? Like, yeah.
Like, to be honest with you, man, I started this. So a little bit of context is the last album I released was in 2013.
Mhm.
So it's 12 years later, right? I was already ready to hang it up, right? Because life gets in the way, right? But after the passing of a good friend, Dex Beats from Alemna. For you guys who don't know out there, there's this rap group that comes out from the Bay Area, specifically where we come from South San Francisco and Daly City in San Francisco. ELEMNOP, right? Lemna. The main producer and one of the core members, Dex Beats, he passed away in I think it was 2022, right? So end of 2022, Dex Beats passed away, and throughout the years of my hiatus from 2013 all the way to 2022, I obviously, when you're an artist, you're always going to be an artist, right? It's just in you. You want to. I had so much creative energy just brewing inside me, but I could never find the time to get it get it out, because of your 9 to 5 or whatever, right? But so before Dex passed, um, there was just a small little interaction where I was posting all of my old stuff on Instagram, and I said I used to be a rapper and I used to be a producer, somewhere something along that line, and then Dex responded back and said, "You're still a rapper, you're still a producer. Never forget that." And shortly after, he passed away.
Oh damn.
Yeah, so like that weighed heavy on me, because um I feel like the music that I generated back when I started, the story was started, but it was never finished. Right. So if you look back at a majority of my old stuff, obviously I have some party music, I have some battle rap music. But if you take a look at really take a listen to a majority of my music, it's kind of going through the struggle, right? In order to make it, in order to like it's so difficult to make it as an artist, and not only as an artist, but just on day-to-day scenarios, just make it through life, right? And my music was primarily not only just for the audience, but for myself. It's like, how you have daily affirmations,
Yeah.
right? My music was like making daily affirmations to get me through any hard time that I was going through, and that I will possibly go through in the future. right? So if you take a look through my whole catalog, you'll hear a lot of that type of music where I'm trying to get through. I'm trying to get through in order to like coach myself to go get through these obstacles, right? But if you take a let's even to the last the last album that I made was called California Dreaming. There was this one song in there called Now or Never, right? And that song was the only song that I made that kind of gave a conclusion to all this struggle. Where did it lead to, right? And then I just stopped making music because then right after I stopped making music, that's when I really focused on life to to trying to build up my life towards financial freedom. Right, that was my main focus right after I dropped out of music because I'm sure most of the artists can relate. Um, when you're just an artist and you're just making music, you can relate to the starving artist, right? You can relate. Everybody can relate to that. So there was a period of time where I stopped making music and I just focused on life in order to build myself up and now I have a family, a wife, and kids, and everything, right? So and a house and approaching towards this financial independence movement that I'm really really focused on and have been focused on since I turned 30. But now that I reached where I wanted to reach, I wanted to make one final album, not only for myself, but like for anybody who has been following along or is even like currently just starting up their experience with my previous music. I want them to know where all that struggle ended up.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Like final
Yeah.
chapter.
So the final chapter, right? So like from Guac J to JitDragon. You know what I mean?
Oh, I totally forgot about that. I was like, wait,
Yeah.
I knew
So
there was a
like
different name.
yeah, so the original name was just to put on there was Guac J, right? Guac J is me being Chinese. It's there's a movie franchise out there called Guac J. In English, it's called The Young and the Dangerous, right? And the story the movie franchise depicts the Chinese triads, right? And it's kind of a Godfather series in Hong Kong. So I switched the name from Guac J to JitDragon because everybody always knew me as Jit
Right,
and
right.
the dragon because I spit out flames, man. so so everybody always like on the side always knew me as my name is Jit and everybody always called me Dragon because of my lyrical ability. But so I switched it from Guac J because I wanted to get away from that name and that 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 wanted to get away from the boy and introduce the man,
Yeah.
right? And I want to be truly authentic and make the music that I want to make that truly represents me now, as opposed to what represented me back then, right? I mean, there's a huge difference in regards to mentality when you're in your 20s as opposed to when you're in your 40s, right? And I think that hip hop and rap is the only genre where like as you age you kind of become less and less relevant because hip hop is a young man's sport. And it's kind of sad to hear that because there's so much wisdom that comes from like the rappers that came out in the 90s. I still listen to Method Man. I still listen to Redman. I still listen to Eminem. I still listen to the Hieroglyphics crew, even though they haven't released something like in a while. I still listen to these 40, 50-year-old rappers because the stuff they talk about now directly relates to what like they talk about their retirements. They talk
Mhm.
about how they came up. They talk about building a family. They talk about what I mean like the stuff where that I'm mentally into, right? So that's what made me realize. And also my good friend Kumo B Romel, shout out to Kumo B. We had like kind of a sit down, and he was kind of saying that there's very few rappers that I mean there's very few people trying to rap in their 40s, and he he thought it was like very, very disappointing because there's so much wisdom that could be that could be that could be spoken out, right? So that's what this last album is about, and I want to basically bring it full circle to let the audience know, and also to remind myself um uh how how the story is going to end. And this time around, I'm shooting. I shot music videos and created some more content and made it a more professional look as opposed to before.
Right. Yeah, no, no. And it shows like just living those albums with you or while you were making it to hearing what you have now is like, okay. I mean, I almost, I assumed that's where you were going with it, but, I wanted to hear it from your mouth because I was like, all this is like definitely full circle. And it is unfortunate and also fortunate that these old heads aren't spitting this wisdom. But when they do, it's like, all right, keep it
Yeah.
going, dude. But I also get, and I also feel like the hip hop nowadays, like it's changing, and with things like mumble rap, and all that, I can't get into it. But I will say that the few rappers I do come across out here has the new style, but also like something about their sound is nostalgic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
like, okay, all right, so someone's teaching you, and I think
Yeah,
that's
I
what the
agree, man.
yeah. So is there any like upcoming rappers out in the Bay that like you, I guess, in a sense, mentored? I guess I don't know if that's even the right word.
It probably isn't the right word, but I would say this. Hip hop is coming back. Like it
Yeah.
really is, man. And I keep on bringing this name up. I'll bring some other names up that I'm quite entertained with. Simba, just from out here. I'm just gonna talk about the
Okay.
Bay Area,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Please. Please.
Simba, C5. Um, but I mean, I keep on bringing it back to this kid. I mean, he's not a kid; he's a grown man. You know what I mean? Russell, man. Like, it's no longer like the Bay is known for some mob music, but more like during when the era that we started making music and really releasing music was the hyphy era,
Yeah.
right?
Hyphy
So
movement.
so
Yeah.
yeah, the hyphy movement, and like we're bred in that era where it was just party music. It was like happy party music, and that was one of the times where rap actually strayed away from. I'm not fully straight away, but like straight away from like the gangster image
Mm.
and the you know what I mean the the dramatic gangster image, right? The G Funk era and stuff like that, and where it actually the Bay contributed so much towards like full on party music, right? And um, cats like Russell making his type of music where you could really get into it, and not only you can listen to it, but you don't mind that your kids are listening to it. You know what I mean? Like it really, and it still gives that big, true essence of what the Bay Area is. I mean, shout out to Russell for doing what he's doing, and more power to him, man. I hope he holds the whole Bay on his back. But mostly, if you're talking about like what I'm into musically, I mean, there's so much talent out there, man. You just scroll, and there's just so much talent out there that it's amazing. You know, I mean, the platform of social media has really, really opened up because before that, you didn't see a lot of Asian rappers or
Mm-mm.
Asian musicians or anything like that. Now you see these like Asian folks, and like they the beauty in their voice that we always knew growing up in Daly City in South San Francisco. You knew that there's some talent out there. You know, so, some of these motherfuckers could really sing, they could rap,
Yeah.
they could play instrument. Like they like there's such a giant pool. But now that the platform is out there, that you can see it out in the open, which is a great thing to see.
So there's one guy that I've been following and listening. I think his name is he's a Filipino guy. He raps in English and Tagalog. I think Chef Yams You know what I'm talking?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
yes,
like,
yeah, yeah. That guy's a beast, dude.
yeah, I was
Yeah,
like, holy
that guy's a
shit.
beast, dude. That
Uh,
guy's a beast, man. So I mean, throwing a couple of other people. So Yams, this guy named Mikey V. Like specifically from the peninsula, from our neck of the woods, right? Um, there like there's just so many of them out there that's just making me proud. You know what I mean? That's the reason why. That's another reason why. So there's this rap artist called Decep, right, from 3 Up Productions, and he made a whole music video of him growing up in Daly City. Like he starts the video out saying, "Oh, real Daly City shit," right? So right when I first saw that, I was like, "Man, I don't even need to rap no more, dude." Like I was like this is it, right? But so when like shout out to DCEP and Cool Guy for so Cool Guy was a rapper and then he switched over to become a videographer, right?
yeah.
So his company's called Double O Films. He's the one who shot my music video for a song that I have called Streetlights, which is kind of influenced by the way I grew up, right?
Whoa,
Because
whoa, whoa,
when I
wait, cool guy did that?
yeah, so Cool Guy did
Hell
that.
yeah.
Yeah, see, like, and that video like is precious to me because it shows my Chinatown roots, but but my South City being raised in South City, right? Because I was born in San Francisco General Hospital, raised in Chinatown at my mom's, and then my dad was in South City, right? So like it kind of gives you that video kind of gives you a good contrast in regards to my personality and how I grew up, and it's something that I'm pretty proud of. The video turned out really really great.
No, and what was the last one that you guys did? Hometown Heroes.
No, no. There's a song called "Hometown
Yeah,
Heroes."
that video was awesome.
But no, that's the video. "Hometown Heroes" is that song is with my quote unquote crew of 5 MCs. That hasn't been released yet.
Wait, what's
But
the one where
the
you
one
had
like the
all
song,
the footage with like Westboro and all that?
yeah, that's Streetlights.
Streetlights,
That's
yeah.
Streetlights.
Oh, okay, I was
Yeah,
like,
that's
wait, one
Streetlights.
of those. I
But no,
was like,
I get why you call it "Hometown Heroes" though, because the whole video is about the hometown,
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's why I was
right?
like, wait a minute, hold on. I feel like I've seen this, but yeah, okay, I get it now. Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
love
but
that,
and
dude.
I'm not, no, that means you're in tune because what one of the lyrics of the song is like "Hometown Heroes," so that means you're in tune, dude. So I
Oh, of
appreciate that.
course. No, that's what I'm saying. I was like, dude, no, I have to get you on this because just seeing this transition, and I get. I'm a little sad that you're not gonna. This is your last album, but at the same time, you explaining it and solidifying what I assumed why it's the last album. Oh, dude, fuck yeah.
Hear me out, though. Hear me out. Though. Just because it's my last album doesn't mean I'm done making music.
No, I get what you're
You know what I'm
saying.
saying?
Yeah. Well, but when's
Yeah,
the
because
next time, right?
I mean, it's not a too short type of thing, but the reason why it's the last album. It, I mean, I'm sure the artists that and your audience that are looking at watching this right now can understand. Working on a full length album is hella work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's not only do you have to come up with minimum 16 songs, right? To be considered like 'cause anything less than 10 or 11 is like an EP
Mhm.
to me, right? You have to at least have like a little more than 10 in order to call it a full length album, right? But nowadays, in order to even grab your attention, you need content, you need videos, you talk about this. You really have to have your full time in this, right? As opposed to what I'm doing, which is just utilizing this music for therapeutical purposes, right? Like that's the main reason why I'm making music, and I'm sure most artists that's watching this can agree, right? So like regarding my full length album is just the conclusion of the journal entries, right? That doesn't stop me from making singles.
All right.
You know, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's my last album, but it doesn't stop me from making singles,
All right.
man. Whenever
Yeah.
I feel like it, you gotta keep on hearing from me. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
No, no, that's good. That's what I was like. I thought I just like lost touch, but I didn't know your last album was in 2013.
You're right.
Yeah.
Right. And like that whole hiatus, and I thought that was really going to be my last album. Like 2013, I was like, I really don't have anything else left to say, right? But after 12 years, well, no, it was 11 years when not even 11, it was 9 years after when Dex died in 2022, that made me be like, all right, I do have a few more things because now I got kids, right?
Right.
And I want to make sure. And the coolest thing is my kids are my biggest fans, right?
Yeah.
So now I want my kids to, when they hear the music, they understand. Yeah, there's a when they grow. Right now they're too little to fully understand, but when they grow up, they can understand where the journey ended, right?
Hmm.
For at least the journal entry stuff. But like I said, it doesn't stop me from making singles. Like I'm a big fan of Bamboo, this rapper that came out of L.A. But now lives in Oakland. Um, like he hasn't released a full length album in a while, but he still pops out singles. Whenever he feels the need that he has something to say about a specific topic, you see him just pop up,
Oh,
right?
dope. Okay.
And yeah, and he utilizes his music to speak on things that he's truly passionate about, as opposed to just making the music to say that I got another album coming out. You know what I mean? Like, so I think that that's the direction where every song that I make and every lyric that is said will have to really mean something. It just can't just sound great. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like it really has to mean something. So yeah, that's the
Message.
direction that I'm heading.
Dope. So
Yeah.
so like you said you're still working on it. Like how many like what's left? Like do you still have to go in the studio and record songs, or are they all recorded and you just need to like fine tune it? Or
No, I still got to record some songs.
oh,
Like I'm promising myself at least a 10 track to 12 track album. I got like seven done, so I got five more to go. But I have the instrumentals lined up. I have the concepts lined up, but I still have to get down and dirty and record it. And like I said, um, if you wanted to really focus and do a full length album, it's real actual work.
mhm.
Before when I was young, right, there was no practically no responsibilities, right? So no family, no wife, no kids, no mortgage payment, none of
Yeah.
that, right? So it was easier to just knock them out, knock them out. And I won't lie. Like even back in my catalog, there's some songs that I considered fillers in there, and I'm not trying to have any fillers in this one. Like I want like whoever is listening to this album will go through every single song and enjoy every single song, right? I mean, as much as that's the hope, right? Because with art, it's all subjective, right? It
Mhm.
depends on your personal taste. But if you enjoy hip hop, soul, lo-fi, and good lyrics, good lyrics with deep meaning, I want to be able to create my final project with all killers, no fillers.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, so who else are you having on your album? I saw the one where you guys were in the hills. Then I think you told
King of
me.
Kings.
Yeah, that
King of
one.
Kings.
Uh,
Yeah, so that's because I'm also a singer,
yeah.
right? So I sing and I rap too, right? So that song was kind of an ode to all of my folks that I grew up with singing. Because like I said, in Daly City, man, you couldn't like there were tons of singing groups. Yeah, I mean, right?
Yeah.
There's always back in the late '90s, early 2000s. There's always somebody in high school in the boys' bathroom just freaking harmonizing, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
like well, like I could, I like just so I could do a quick shout out. Composure, drop in harmony,
Yep.
pure harmony, rhythmic. Uh, I can keep on going. Legacy, next phase. I can keep on going and
Yeah.
going and going. Right. So that's kind of that song was not only to honor my singing side of my artistry, but also my walk in my faith with God. Right. And like the lyrics, I was talking to my wife the other day, right? Because my son sings that song all the time, right? And I'm not and when he sings it, like there's no like cringe about it, right? Like I'm not talking about smoking weed and getting drunk,
Sure.
slapping bitches. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
none of that, right?
We're grown now.
It's exactly. It's talking about my walk of faith and my relationship with God, and that's something that I'm proud that my son, my 7-year-old son, can sing and
Yeah.
memorize. You know what I mean? And be a fan of. And actually, he's on the cover of the song. So if you go on, I didn't disclose his face because you know what I mean. Like I don't want to do all that.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's a shot of him in the back, and he's actually in the beginning of the video too, singing the song,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
I think
it's
I remember. I was like, looks too much like Jit. That's probably his kid.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, man. So that song is we worked on that song for a whole year.
Oh wow.
Yeah, for a whole year we worked on that song. So you could only imagine if we worked on one song for a year, and we started this. I mean, I started this album at the end of 2022. At least you know the concept of the album in 2022, and actually put boots on the ground and vocals on the studio in 2023, and started shooting videos in 2024. Right, you could only imagine if I'm trying to do 16 of these, like how long it's gonna take,
Holy.
and why I'm calling it my last album because like dude, like this is not just like a and because like I don't want to put myself on a deadline. You know what I
Right.
mean? I want to, like I said, I want every single song to mean something and be meaningful. So like it's gonna take some time, but I'm hoping that you guys will stay along for the ride and listen to everything.
Yeah, no, definitely. And so then like, hold on. When do you have time to work on this? I guess that should be the next question.
Right, like so 9 to 5
Yeah.
work, right? 9 to 5, everybody got their 9 to 5. 5 to 9 got to be with the kids, got to be
Right.
with the family. So when they put down to bed, it's 9 to 12.
Woo. Yep.
Yeah. So before in our 20s, like literally right after 9 to 5, 9 to 5, 5 you're at your 9 to 5, and 5 to 9 you're writing rhymes. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right. And then
Like
from
all the
nine
way
to
to three
12.
o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I
And
mean?
all
All
the
the way to
fun
3
in
o'clock in the morning.
between. Yeah, no, dude.
Exactly. But now is the only time that you get is 9 to 12, and for those professional artists out there, you know, like they do their work between nine and their artistry between 9 and 5, and they still have time for the other facets of their life between afterwards, right? There's for us people that are doing it just for the sole purpose of passion. You know, like we got to face our responsibilities before we make time for ourselves, and that's another concept of the album too. Um, uh, Giving your time and making sure that you fulfill your responsibilities before you go out and do stuff for yourself, right? I mean, just as a father and as a man, right? So that's kind of another core tenet of the album.
Yeah, and not only that, I mean, when you collaborate with other people, you have to take into account their schedules, and I would
Schedules,
assume they're
right?
also doing fatherly
Same thing,
things.
like
Yeah,
like
yeah.
like
Oh
like
man.
the whole. So that was a whole experience, man. Like and shout out to all the folks that came through on the King of Kings song, man. Eric, Andrew, Mike, Chris, who mixed down. Chris of Skyheart Sound is the one who mixed down the whole song and sounds beautiful, man. After he did the mix, and my best buddy Marvin, like you know, they got wives, they got kids, they got
Yeah.
careers and everything, and they still made it out to pursue this passion project with me. So I mean, like that, I I I'm very happy and honored that they were able to come because I really looked up specifically Andrew and Eric and Mike. You know, like they're upperclassmen, right? So meaning when I was a sophomore, they were seniors, something like that, right? So but they specifically Eric and Andrew were the first ones out of everybody to have full blown working studio,
Oh
right?
wow. Okay.
Yeah, and this you're talking about 17 years old. Who has a full blown studio at 17 years
Oh,
old?
okay. I thought you meant like now. Okay, okay, I got you. Holy shit.
No,
Okay.
like the garage was decked out, built out. Like God bless you, Mr. Grievous. You know what I mean? Like for allowing them to like, utilize the whole garage, and that was kind of like Eric's garage was kind of the blueprint for other people's studios in the area. Like for example, I mentioned this crew, Alemnop, right? After they recorded, everybody branched out from Eric's studio. I'm going to say that. Say that for the record, right? Eric's studio is where everybody recorded in high school. Everybody, because it was the only studio, right? And then afterwards, after high school, that's when Alemnop had their own studio, and other people started building their own studios based off the blueprint that was set in Eric's studio. So shout out to Eric for being the first domino that caused the
Yeah,
cascade.
it started the whole thing. Oh, that's pretty dope, man. I had no idea about any of this. I mean, like, I remember it's just like me and Ramon, we would just like either play on Fruity Loops or
Right.
MTV Music Generator, and then
But can you imagine like 16, 17? Like, you're not even thinking about that. You're just
yeah.
rapping in the corner. You know what I'm saying? You're singing in the corner. No, freaking Eric said, fuck that. I'm gonna have the whole he had like the booth, the
Oh
soundboard, like
wow.
everything.
Okay.
Yeah, and shout out to Andrew Guevara, you know, I mean, from Guevara Designs now, he's like full on self taught with this type of stuff, right? So like without Andrew in the mix. I don't think. I mean, you have to ask Eric, but like ever since I knew Andrew, this guy like just like super tech savvy and like self taught with everything. You know what I mean? So shout out to them, man.
Yeah. No. No. That's like independent AF, right? Fuck. Dude,
Yeah,
that's so dope.
yeah.
And now, I mean, like, what's funny is like hearing like your stories. It's like okay, like whether I knew it or not, like I think this is like where my roots come from because I'm DIY as fuck all day long. Like
Right,
I'm
right,
not trying
right,
to deal
right,
with nobody. Like I could do it myself. I can do it
right, right,
myself. I'll
right, right,
figure it
right,
out.
right, right.
I'll go with less sleep just so I can figure this out and not have to hire somebody or figure out how to deal with another person or hire another person or go through a company. So shit, man, dude, fuck yeah,
Right, no,
yeah.
no, and more power to you, man. Because like not only like as you DIY it yourself, and then if you ever get to a point where you get a team to delegate, you know how to properly train somebody to do certain things. You know what I mean? So more power to you on doing that, man. That I mean, because being a business person myself, I mean that's what I'm all about. I have to make sure I have hands on the product, hands on the service, hands on whatever I'm selling before I could pass it on to the next guy. Because otherwise, it gets watered down and it's not as good as when I put hands on it. You know what
Right,
I mean?
yeah, no, no, I totally, fucking a man. Like, dude, this has been great. I'm gonna bring this to a close. I mean, you are more than welcome for every single to roll back up here, dude, and chat it up. Because I mean, like, dude, I miss you guys. I miss the Bay.
Yeah, we all miss you too, bro.
yeah,
We all miss you too, bro.
yeah, dude. Tell
And
everybody I said what's up.
yeah, I'm really happy that you're pushing this stuff and monetizing your passions, man. It's a joy to see, dude. It's a
Huh.
joy to see.
Well, fucking a, I think you guys started that up for me. Like, even though I wasn't really paying attention, but like those roots are deep. They run deep, dude. The
Yeah, yeah.
independent, this whole thing about talking about independent labels and independent that, like, I think this is where it all came from.
I just drove. Me and the wife just drove by the old house, 150 Francisco Drive, in right by the Seas Candies in South City. So we call that house the Francisco Frat House. You're part of the Francisco
Oh, I
Frat,
mean,
right?
yeah, I was a
You're
vagabond.
Francisco Frat all day, bro.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, dude, here before I do like my little outro or whatever, give us all your plugs again, dude. Where people can find you,
You
your
can find
music.
me JitDragon Music. You can find me JitDragon Music on Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, Facebook, wherever you stream music. Just Google JitDragon, JIT Dragon, one word, and you'll be able to find me, man.
So will they come across the Guwak J stuff, or is that all
They will.
renamed?
They
Oh,
will.
okay.
It's all been branded under JitDragon now. So when you go through the catalog, there's sometimes I refer to myself as Guwak J, and sometimes I refer to myself as Jit. It's all branded under the JitDragon stuff now.
Yeah, but I mean that's like the prequel, dude. Guwak J is the prequel to what they got to hear now. But
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Well, fuck yeah, dude. Thank you for coming on. This has been local everywhere, and everywhere today is South City still.
South San Francisco, South City, man.
Yep, 650. Have a good one
That's where
to
we at.
Houston Collective Radio. Goodbye.